and welcome to another healing journey where we're on this learning journey together. It is almost Thanksgiving time, and for many, this is a hard time of year. So, Lee, welcome.
Good evening, Lynn. Good evening, Kevin. It's so good to be here. And yes, we are at the Monday before Thanksgiving. It's one day that we set aside, but not the only day that we set aside to give thanks. So we're so happy and glad that we have that set aside and every
Yeah.
day.
Yes. Kevin, welcome. We'd like to welcome Mr. Kevin Bullard with us again tonight. He's the founder of Hungry Lives Matter, and he adds so much from his perspective on the inside, and he adds so much. So we'd like to thank you, Kevin, for being with us again tonight.
Thank you, Miss Lynn and Miss Lee. It's my honor to be on your program, and I love just being able to share some direct insights of places that a lot of people are not able to go. But you know, I was able to go to those places and make it out, and I want to share, would like to share my story every chance I get. Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Kevin. Again, we are the learning journey here. We're part of our lessons learned, and our lessons learned is a 501c3 nonprofit organization which is geared to help the loved ones of those incarcerated. You may be a caregiver. A lot of times when the loved ones are incarcerated, it might be a grandmother or aunt or someone who is taking care of the children. And let's not forget about the children because the children go through a lot. And
They do.
sometimes we focus on the adults and forget about the children. So, from a mental health standpoint, it is so important to do that. Tonight, we bring to you um, the holidays and grief. Grief can intensify through the holidays, and there are many mental health struggles because of traditions and expectations and reminders of loss that can feel sharper during this time of the season. Balancing grief with moments of joy, self-compassion, and connection, it can ease, the weight. So again, we're talking about your loved one this might be the first year that your loved one is incarcerated.
Hmm.
How do you deal with that? It's a lot of challenges, even preparing and facing this time of year without your loved one. And then again, it is a lot for the loved one who may be incarcerated year after year. This time of year is very hard for them as well. So, we want to touch you in a special way tonight. I'm going to give you the mental health side, Leah is going to give you the loved one side, and Kevin is going to give you a view of from the incarcerated side because of his former life being incarcerated. So we're going to give you three perspectives tonight, and we hope that this will not fall on deaf ears. And we thank God for allowing us to come and help you with that grief over the holidays. So first I want to start off with why the holidays can feel harder. Well, there are heightened expectations. Holidays are culturally framed as a joyful time when families get together, and it can make grief more isolating when your experience doesn't match the mood. Triggers of memories, traditions, anniversaries, and family gatherings often resurface grief even after, many years. It still hits you year after year. Ambiguous grief, sometimes the loss isn't death, but estrangement, illness, or change in relationships, which can still feel heavy. It still feels
Hmm.
heavy. It still feels heavy for me, after 13 years not having that. But thank God I got a year and a half to go, and that will be my child will be at the table again with us and sharing the holidays. There are several coping strategies from a mental health perspective. I want you to name and acknowledge those feelings. Allowing yourself to say this is grief helps normalize the experience. When you process those emotions that you're feeling, you have to name them to tame them. You're going to process them and then push them out. Process them and push them out. Don't push them back in there because they will come and manifest again later on. Create rituals, and that's a good thing. Light a candle, cook a loved one's favorite meal or dish, or you know what? Write a letter to honor them. You know, with grief, it's hard, but set that place there. And you know what? Cook maybe a treat or something that they like, and that is going to help you still honor them during those holidays. Set boundaries. It's okay to decline invitations
That's
or
right.
scale back traditions if you feel overwhelmed. Sometimes you may not feel like going early and having the charcuterie and then going to dinner. So, you know what? You pick. You pick what you're able to handle. Also, practice self compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness as you'd offer a grieving friend. Also, this is a time to seek support. A lot of times you need that support group, and that support group will help you. And it's the same thing that, if you're dealing with other kind of the loss of that relationship is so important. And try to balance the grief and the joy. Give yourself permission to laugh and to enjoy moments without guilt. Joy doesn't ease grief. Remember that. So differentiate the holiday blues versus depression. Temporary sadness is common, but persistent hopelessness may signal clinical depression. And if you're having this for more than 2 weeks, without the holidays, then it's time to check in on that mental health. Remember, mental health is as just as important as brushing your teeth daily. Do I feel good today? What's going on? Am I crying too much? Am I isolating myself? Am I eating too much, eating too less? Sleeping too much, sleeping too less? If those things are happening, you're hopeless, then you need to check in on that mental health. Take care of your body, sleep, proper nutrition, physical exercise. Those are all things that can help this time of year to ease the grief. Ooh, I can't get that word right tonight. Also, communicate your needs. Let your loved ones know what helps. Whether it's quiet time, company, or nutrient, it's okay to tell somebody, I'm not in the mood today. You know what? Let me get back with you. Because sometimes they'll want to keep calling you, and this is not the time. So let them know, you know what? I'll call you, okay, when I'm feeling a little better. I'm good. If I feel the need, then I'll reach out. And opt out if needed. Some years, skipping certain celebrations entirely can be the healthiest choice. You know what
Mhm.
works for you best, okay? Don't let others tell you what you need. You know where you are in this journey, and you know what works best for you. Grief doesn't follow a schedule. It can resurface unexpectedly. It could be in the mall, it could be a trigger that someone has called you, and grief comes in like the waves sometimes, like the waves in the ocean, sometimes good and sometimes bad. Remember, this is an emotionally charged season for many, so take it lightly. You can hold both grief and joy, and they are mutually exclusive. Support networks, remember, faith, family, friends, communities, or professionals can provide that grounding when emotions feel overwhelming. Now, I just told you how the loved ones may feel because I experience it and Lee experiences. Kevin, from the inside, what do the inmates go through? What are our loved ones going through on maybe their first holiday from the inside, and then at every other holiday? Can you give us some emotions and feelings from the inside?
Um, for me to identify the emotion that I actually experienced was it was anger,
Mhm, mhm.
and because I felt like I let my family down again.
Wow.
So those holidays was very hard on me because I come from a family setting where we always gather during the holidays. So when that time came around for Christmas, I was never in a festive mode because I'm looking at myself and I was upset and disappointed with myself that I let my children down again during the holidays time, and especially hard on me that has adolescent children that's still in school that still loves the Christmas tree, that still loves the toys. That
Mm,
plays a lot on a man's mental perspective of trying to regulate all this emotional roller coaster during the holidays. And it'd be hard. Actually, it's hard. It can be hard. It can be challenging and hard on individuals, especially if you don't have a family member that's actually out supporting you, that you can actually call on Christmas.
mhm.
That's
And
hard.
yeah, that is real hard, that
Mhm.
is real hard. And, you know, you think about the food, you think about the turkey and macaroni and cheese. You're not going to get that on the inside either, are you? Those traditional things that, you're used to, that is different as well. And a lot of times you're on lockdown, right, Kevin?
Yeah, especially during the holidays,
Yeah, during
because
the
it's a lot
holidays.
going on, a
Yes.
lot of illegal activities. Because you got to realize when you're incarcerated, you take the only thing that you are really missing is love and affection.
Mhm.
Everything else nowadays, they got cell phones, they got this in prison, they got everything that a person needs besides, you know, their loved ones, their family members, their children, their wife, their husband. Other than that, we try to make the best of the holidays. So what we do is we go and everybody we go in and throw in a big pot and we cook for each other.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
I remember
Yes.
during the time we was cooking 30, 40 bowls of rice
Wow. Yeah.
because in federal prison, you are really the look at you of how you eat. If you go to the chow hall to eat all your food, you really don't have that much going on for yourself. But
Mhm.
if you have food that's cooked inside the dorm, that shows the type of status that you still maintaining behind bars. So it was all about the amount of food we can eat besides eating the prison food. That's how we celebrated, amongst ourselves. And that was cooking
Wow.
for each other, just like on the outside. We have big dinners for each other.
Mhm. Wow. That's something. Lee, do you remember your first year and how it was for you uh with not having your loved one, and then when your loved one came home that first year, how was it for you as a
Uh,
loved one?
I don't remember exactly all of that first year, but I do remember the emptiness because that chair was empty at the table or so, and it wasn't that we could physically be together as family and enjoy each other and stuff, and just the running around, the talking, the chatting, the whole bit of it being family together. So it's a little bit different. Because of the distance, because he wasn't there. He wasn't
Yes.
there. And I
Yeah.
do remember him explaining some of the things, just as Kevin said, about the anger of feeling that he had let the family down, he had let me down. And I also remember him sharing things with me, like the dinners that they all got together and made something so that they
Mhm.
can kind of feel something with the other people that were there with them so that they could get some kind of feel while they were there or so. And it was kind of like they really didn't celebrate holidays because it wasn't like a holiday, it was just another day.
Yes. And it's something. Kevin, do you remember any Christian groups coming in during the holidays and giving, holiday services and things like that?
When I no, only people that came in when I was doing my federal time was just really the normal Christian ministries that comes in on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. But as far as an outside group coming in, I didn't have that
Okay.
because um, when you're doing federal time, it's very different from state time.
Yes. 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 Wow, that's something, I know that there are some Christian groups that come in and they make sure that they're coming in
Hmm.
either the day before or Christmas Eve and, sharing that real reason for the season. And that is so important. Also, I'm thinking about so many of the loved ones that try to numb the pain on the holiday. And, they may start drinking and doing some substance abuse and things like that, temporarily avoiding the pain. But what happens? It only prolongs the anguish,
Hmm.
and there's so many that do that. Eventually the holidays do get easier. It still hurts, but
Hmm.
they do get a little easier, but only if you allow yourself to experience the grief of going through without your loved one. You have to face it. When you push it down in there, as I said, it will manifest at other times. And the holidays are one time, but there are other times, graduations and marriages and things like that, that you also experience, that grief because this is not your loved one at that time. Kevin, can you identify with that?
Of course, because the holidays, it was a stark time for me. It
Yes.
was very depressing, and I didn't ever learn how to process things in life.
Hmm.
Now I knew how to mask it because when you live that life, you can't show emotions. You can't show
Mm-mm,
feelings.
mm-mm, mm-mm.
Feelings will, I used to say, feelings will get you hurt.
Yeah.
Wow,
Really.
that's hard. That's hard to have to hold those feelings in, because when you're holding those feelings in, they can manifest in the anger and other things where you lash out at others and then you can't regulate your emotions.
No, because when you don't process things in life and you bottle it up, just it's just almost like the pressure within that bottle eventually with the wrong types of gases, liquids mixed together, it
Gonna burst.
explodes.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you're so right, Kevin.
And that's what happens. That's what happened to a lot of inmates.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's so bottled up.
They get numb.
And when they get a chance to release it, they release it on any and everybody.
Yeah.
Because I'm
Yeah.
I'm having this same issue. I have a son that's incarcerated now.
Okay.
And it seems like out of 4 years, he done did 4 years in the box in
Yes.
solitary
Mhm.
confinement.
Oh my God. Wow. That's hard.
And that plays on your mind,
Hmm.
solitary confinement.
Yes. Yes.
A
Yes.
life in prison is worse than a death sentence
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
because you have to relive those pain, those thoughts day in, day out, day in and day out until you naturally pass away.
There's no escape
No, there's no escape.
and there's no support.
Never.
Okay.
Mm.
Wow. There's a lot of things that you can't control about the holidays. You may be subject to Christmas music in the stores and waiting room at the doctor's office, or you overhear coworkers constantly talking about, where they're going and talking about their holiday plans with the grandkids and this and that. While you can't prevent those things from happening, there are some things that you can control for the holidays, and think about what you can do to lessen your heartbreak, when you can. It's okay to limit your decorations or to shop for presents online. Pick a few things that you can do to assert some control over your holiday cheer, like getting a poinsettia plant and maybe decorating it. Also, there are some things where you and the kids can make some holiday ornaments, maybe one with your loved one's picture on it or something like
Mhm.
that. And then that can help. Um, you know, Keep a clear mind that life goes on for other people, and it's okay for them, that it's okay to celebrate, but you're also going to think about your loved one. Also, Kevin, I know that a lot of the state, I don't know about the federal, but I know of a lot of the state facilities in different states. Check with your facility. They do have
Mhm.
visitation
Yes.
on Christmas Eve, which makes it so much easier.
Oh
And
my.
that is if they have enough personnel, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Now I know at some of them they won't be out in the open, but they have it behind the glass, so you still have that that in face, face to face, and that's
Hmm.
even hard when it's behind the glass because you don't have that, you can't really talk to them, and it you can
Okay.
talk to them, but you're talking through a speaker, so
Mm.
that's hard, but at least you do get to go inside the facility.
But one thing I can say about my time is that I had to learn how to enjoy the present moment that I was in.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because if you can go from having thousands of dollars in your pocket, Christmas time, you spending money all over the place, and for now all of a sudden you locked up, you getting a little $5 bag of candy, you getting a Christmas meal, you might get a visit. That's if you had a decent relationship with somebody before you went to prison. And all those things makes a big difference in an inmate's life during the holidays, because you are so excited that, hey, I'm gonna get a Christmas dinner.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
line us. It's almost, to me, it was like humiliating,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
they'll line us all up, call us by dorm, and they'll give us a bag of candy, and we'd be so happy,
Mm.
like kids in a candy store. The chatter is just so
Wow.
loud, and
Wow.
we are just so ecstatic that they are breaking the normal monotony of prison life, and they are giving us a bag of candy. They are giving us a Christmas dinner. And that's all those guys had to, the ones that wasn't really established in life. That's all they had to go off of.
Yes.
And
Yes.
maybe a little 3 5 minute phone call.
Mhm. Mhm. That's something, Kevin.
And you look
I,
forward to those things, I imagine.
Yeah.
I gave up my freedom because I finally realized something, that I did not truly love myself, and I did
Mhm.
not truly love my children.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
I loved the money. I loved the adrenaline
Mhm.
more
Mhm.
than my own self.
Mhm.
Mm.
And a person has to be mentally insane.
Wow.
Wow. But God set you down for a reason so he could minister and change your life.
Yes, he did.
He sat you down so he can minister to you and change your life. So now greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. And now you came out as a changed person. You're doing well. You're the CEO of the founder of Hungry Lives Matter. You're
Hmm.
feeding the hungry. You're
Yes.
licensed in your job and construction. These are the things that you did not have that sense of purpose before. So
No.
look at God. Look
Look at
what
God.
happened,
Exactly.
you
I'm gonna
know?
tell you something. I actually thank God for those 7 years
Yes.
in prison, because I had failed at, I ain't gonna say failed, but the choices that I was making in life was not conducive for me to live on the streets.
Yes. Yes.
So
So
he
you
had,
had to give up
so
7
he,
holidays for that.
he saw the greater in me. So he
Mhm.
had to sit me down.
Mhm. Mhm.
He sat
Mm-mm-mm.
me down for 7 years, and I came out a new person. I felt like I was a new child,
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
because I'm learning this thing called life, not from a carnal mind, but from a spiritual mind.
Yes. Yes.
Now
Yeah.
I was able to have a relationship with God. Now I can hear.
Mhm.
Before I
Mhm.
couldn't hear. Yeah, I can hear somebody calling my phone, but could I truly hear from God speaking to me? I
Yes.
couldn't hear that until He had to sit me down for those 7 years in prison.
Wow.
Exactly. It's so powerful when you think about it, and now you want to do something kind for others, and that's what you're
Hmm.
doing. sometimes we look at what we don't have, but look at what we do have and do something kind for others. Lee, you're one of those people that is always doing something kind for others. And that is in you. You just have a heart for service. And that is in you. And I thank God for that. Kevin, you also have a heart for service now. Before you weren't doing that service, but now look at you. So, you know what? Even when you're in the midst of grief, the loved ones can also offer something to others. Performing good deeds for others sometimes can ease your own grief that you're going through during the holidays. And, donate gifts to families in need. You can serve meals, that's
Hmm.
a big thing, is serving meals
Volunteer.
at the holiday, or volunteer to help people at a nursing home. I said, don't forget about the children, but don't forget about the seniors as well. They
Hmm.
are forgotten about sometimes, and they're left at the nursing homes. And I have a good friend in the nursing home where I will be taking some festivities, some, food to make sure that she has. But these are the things that we have to give back sometimes. And the serenity prayer is one that is so important, to help me accept the things I can't change and to change the things that I can. I'm paraphrasing the serenity prayer, but it is so important that we keep that in the midst. And like I said, this too shall pass. Remember, you're going through Thanksgiving, and then you're going through the Christmas season. And if you really look at the Christmas season, let's not forget the real meaning of the Christmas season. The Christmas season real meaning is the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So yes, our families come together, but when we celebrate him, it will take, we can put some of that grief into celebrating him this year and every year. And that will also be something that can really help as we go through grief in this season. So, are there any other things, Lee, that you can think of that you did that can help people in this season?
Well, I can think of the fact that you so eloquently put that I service and that Kevin service, but you
Mhm.
also did mention the fact that you yourself do a lot of servicing to a lot of people each and every day of your life. And so we are thankful for that because you all that you do for others, even in the midst of going through what you're going through and through the grief that you're going through during this holiday season or so.
Thank you.
So you
Thank,
are really, really, truly great, Lynn Kelly.
thank you.
You are a really good person.
We make
There's
a great team, the three of us, the trio, right?
mm,
And we're missing
that's true.
Cynthia tonight, but we'll get her back on in the beginning of the year so we can help. Our mission is to help the loved ones, help those
Mhm,
who are going through what we've been through, what we're
mhm.
going through. Again, we're on the learning
Yeah,
journey. This
can
is
that.
a ride that we didn't ask for, God assigned us to it.
Hmm. Yeah.
And you know what? We thank God because we've learned so much and we're still learning. So, what we're learning from our lessons learned, we
Hmm.
want to help you.
Yeah.
Please tune into, we do have our race coming up, and look at the Facebook page. Our race is coming up January the 10th. Kevin, we're doing it with Hungry Lives Matter this year. And we're going to be out there. It's Saturday, January the 10th. We do have in-kind sponsorships. So come out and join us. This is our first year with inaugural pricing of $20. Bring
Hmm.
the family out. It's not just for adults. Last year we had kids out. It was so wonderful to come out and meet us. You never know when you're going to need us. A lot of people look at this and pass it by, but guess what? You don't know what it feels like until it hits your doorstep. So please help and come out and support us. Are there any other things that you two would like to add as we look at grief over the holidays?
It's our fourth year, Lynn, coming
Yes.
that we're going to have this race or so. It's I sat back and I said, man, it doesn't seem like it's been that long. Seemed like it was just yesterday, so to speak. But it will be our fourth annual walk run in January. So we're looking forward to that. So there are, you mentioned a lot of things in reference to grieving over the holidays or so, and you covered everything. Feed your feelings, don't just push them away and stuff. You got to deal with those things. Be specific, and sometimes you have to write down your emotions. Um, don't resist the grief. It is what it is. Let's deal with it and show yourself some compassion. You got to take care of you in order for you to be there and good for someone else. Take care of your body. Walk, run, um, smell the roses. Take time to exercise and do the things that you need to do physically and mentally. Take care of yourself, which means sometimes if we're not getting what we need. Sometimes we have to go to the point of seeking counsel sometimes. And it's not a problem to tell other people what you need when you need things and stuff. Let them know, because sometimes they don't know, and they may very well want to know, what is it that I can do for you to help you along the way or so. And they haven't been there. So if you don't let them know, sometimes they won't know. And like you said, sometimes our loved ones, when they're not there and stuff, let's honor them with a tradition that, like you said, make a special dish or something to put a special shirt on that chair or something to remind you of when they were there and the fact that they will be back there one day and you'll be able to see them and feel them and caress them or so and enjoy them. Attend a support group. There are groups out there. There's Our Lessons Learned. There's the Healing Journey. If you can't find anything locally or so, give us a call. We are there for you, and we would certainly love to talk with you and feel what's going on with you and see if we can help in any way that we can. But you do have to set healthy expectations, and you got to set some boundaries too. As you said, Lynn, sometimes you don't feel, if you're not feeling up to it, you don't want to go, or you don't push yourself to go, just opt out of it. I think I'll just make a little dinner at home this time and just stay home. It's okay to do those things. Um, and socialize as you feel able. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. Limit your amount of shopping in the stores and stuff. Sometimes it can get a little bit depressing when you're out there with all the hoopla. So, and sometimes it may pick you up a little bit so that you can feel a little bit better.
Mhm.
But you have to do what you need to do for yourself to get you in a place of getting past the grief of the holiday season. Sometimes you have to change your home scenery. It's
Exactly.
okay to change those things, to decorate, to take things down or so. Sometimes change those things. And my favorite, and you did mention that, is volunteering or donating to someone else to help someone else along the way and stuff. We have to give to someone else. And it makes you feel so good. I know it does for me when we do those things or so. Um, so, whatever you feel that you need to do to help you along the way, to heal you during the time of the holidays, and to get past the grief or get to the other side of that, do that. It's okay. It's okay to do that, and you'll get past it. And
Thank you, Lee. Also, there are several support groups out there.
mhm,
AARP has a grief and loss forum that you can check out. I am going to put these on the Facebook page that I would love for you to, if you need support. There's griefnet.org. There is the Miss Foundation online support groups. There is My Grief Angels online forums
mhm,
and opentohope.com. There's so many, widowed village. There's so many actively moving forward. There's so many grief, because this is grief when you're so used to your loved one
mhm,
being there, so you're grieving the loss of that relationship.
mhm.
So, there are things there. So I'm going to put some of these support groups there, and you know what? If they're not for you, they can, maybe recommend that you go, to another support group. So, Kevin, is there any advice that you would like to give to the loved ones?
Oh, yes.
Yes, Kevin.
Yes. And I'm fixing I want to, yeah, I'm speaking to the individual that has a loved one that's incarcerated, and tell them that you forgive them during this holiday time, because the forgiveness is not for them, the forgiveness is for you. Because once you forgive that individual, you let it go. So there should be no grief, there should be no anger, there should be none of those sadness that your loved one is locked up. Because you got to realize, an individual that gets locked up, that means this person has some kind of psychological issues going on within their mind, because the average person does not say, hey, I'm going to wake up, I want to go to jail for the next 10 years.
Yes. Yes.
This
Yes.
is a ongoing problem that they have been dealing with probably since childhood.
Mm.
Because I can only speak for myself, because I was so angry at the age of 5 in the fifth and sixth grade that all I wanted to do was fight, because I came from a place of being abused.
Yes.
So all I knew how to do was fight. And so all my life, I just knew how to be aggressive for everything.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so had I got that help long time ago, had somebody realized that, hey, this individual, we need to get some kind of professional help, because we can't handle this on our own. So forgive them, and then you can learn how to start forgiving yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. That is so important,
It
Kevin.
is. I'm so
Thank
glad you
you
said that.
so much. I'm so glad that
Mhm,
you said that.
mhm.
It is so important because, you're walking around with blame and you're blaming yourself. You know what? There could be joy. Your loved
Mhm.
one is still alive, but you know
Yes.
what? This is a temporary condition. As I said, this too shall pass. And you
Mhm.
have to look at it that way because you know what? God can do anything. When you think it's all lost, there's a miracle that could come down. You just don't know. So you have to keep the hope and keep hope alive.
That's right.
As we close today, we want to thank you for allowing us to come into your hearts and your homes. And, you can always reach out to Lee and myself, and we're at 407-720-8761. We're also here. I'm going to put the grief resources on here, and we hope that you have a happy, healthy Thanksgiving. And you know what? Make sure that you talk to your loved one and tell them you love them, like Kevin said. It's so important that they're not forgotten about, that you're enjoying the holidays and forgetting about them. So, right now, we ask that, you do that. And until we see you again, peace, be still. Have a good evening. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
Bye bye.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you.